Some artifacts were never meant to be seen again, not because they were cursed, but because what they suggested was too dangerous, too strange, or too powerful. Locked behind vault doors, buried under concrete, or hidden in private vaults, these objects were sealed not for preservation, but for protection. From ancient devices that defy time to manuscripts no one can read, these are the 10 real artifacts that history has hidden, locked away, or simply refused to explain. Let's begin with a hammer found in Texas, inside rock older than human history. The London Hammer, Texas, USA. In 1936, a couple exploring near London, Texas discovered something strange, an old hammer encased in rock. The rock formation it was embedded in is estimated to be over 100 million years old. The hammer itself resembles 19th century American tools, made of iron with a wooden handle partially fossilized. This raised questions that sparked decades of controversy. Creationists claimed it as evidence against evolution. Others insisted it was a hoax or misdated. Scientific studies have suggested the rock could have formed through concretion around the hammer in more recent times, but no definitive answer exists. Due to the uproar, the hammer was removed from public access and locked away in a private collection tied to the Creation Evidence Museum in Texas. Today, it's rarely shown without context, and scientists tend to avoid discussing it. Whether anomaly, artifact, or accident, the London Hammer challenges how we define history and what we're willing to question. Now, from an impossible tool to a manuscript that no one on Earth can decode. The Voynich Manuscript, USA, Yale University. Kept under lock and key at Yale's Banneker Library, the Voynich Manuscript is often called the world's most mysterious book. Dating to the early 15th century, it's written in an unknown script that no expert, cryptographer, or AI has ever decoded. The book contains over 240 pages of strange, looping text accompanied by bizarre illustrations, plants that don't exist, cosmological diagrams, and nude female figures bathing in odd contraptions. The writing doesn't match any known language, living or dead. Some believe it's a hoax, but carbon dating confirms the parchment is genuine. Theories range from coded alchemical texts to a lost medieval language. For years, access was restricted due to fears of damage or contamination. Even now, the original is kept in climate-controlled storage, and scholars must use high-res scans to study it. Its creator remains unknown. Its purpose, unclear. The Voynich Manuscript doesn't threaten our safety, but it threatens our understanding of what we think we know. Next, we head across the Atlantic, where two carved stone heads caused fear even scientists couldn't explain. The Hexom Heads, Hexom, UK. In 1971, two small stone heads were dug up in a garden in Hexham, England. At first, they seemed like old Celtic relics, until strange phenomena began. The family who discovered them reported poltergeist-like activity, items moving on their own, sudden cold spots, and a foul stench. Even a ghostly figure was said to appear. When the heads were sent to a university for study, one researcher claimed a werewolf-like creature appeared in her home afterward. No explanation was ever found, and the heads were quietly sealed away in storage. They've not been publicly displayed since. Debate continues. Were they ancient Celtic totems, modern carvings with some unknown energy, or just psychological triggers for hysteria? Their whereabouts are now uncertain. Some say they were lost during transport, others that they're intentionally hidden to prevent further disturbances. Whatever the truth, the Hexom Heads became a modern case study in how archaeology, fear, and folklore can collide, and why some objects are better left buried. Now, to a medieval book so massive and disturbing, it was once believed to be written by the devil. The Codex Gigas, Czech Republic. Weighing over 160 pounds and bound in leather, the Codex Gigas is the largest surviving medieval manuscript in the world. Created in the early 13th century in Bohemia, now the Czech Republic, it contains the full Latin Bible, exorcism rituals, medical texts, and a full-page illustration of the devil. According to legend, a monk made a deal with Satan to complete the manuscript in one night, earning it the nickname the Devil's Bible. What makes it disturbing isn't just the content, but the precision. Scholars believe it was written by a single hand, requiring years of work, yet no corrections or errors exist across 300-plus pages. During wars and invasions, it changed hands multiple times, then was locked away in the Swedish National Library. Today, it's accessible only under strict conditions. Whether cursed or not, it represents a time when knowledge, religion, and fear were bound, literally in one terrifying volume. Let's shift from legends to ancient science, with a machine that shouldn't exist. The Antithora Mechanism, Greece pulled from a Roman-era shipwreck in 1901 near Antithora, Greece. This bronze device sat unnoticed for decades, until X-rays revealed its inner structure. Dated to around 100 BC, the Antithora Mechanism turned out to be an analog computer capable of predicting solar eclipses, lunar phases, and planetary movements. It used more than 30 precisely cut gears, built with a level of craftsmanship unseen again until the 14th century. Scientists were stunned. How could ancient Greeks construct something so advanced? Some even suspected it was a modern forgery, but tests confirmed its authenticity. Due to its fragility, it was stored in the National Archaeological Museum of Athens and remained inaccessible to the public for years. Only after decades of research was it partially reassembled, but large sections are missing. Even today, its full function isn't completely understood. The Antithora Mechanism didn't just predict the heavens, it broke our timelines wide open. Now to a scroll made of copper, not paper, pointing to treasure many believe was never meant to be found. The Copper Scroll, discovered in 1952 near the Dead Sea, the Copper Scroll stands apart from the rest of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Unlike the others, it isn't made of parchment. It's hammered from copper, etched with ancient Hebrew text that lists over 60 hidden caches of gold and silver. The total value would be billions today, but here's the twist. None of the treasures have ever been found. Some believe it was a real inventory from the Second Temple in Jerusalem. Others think it was an intentional decoy to protect relics from Roman seizure. The scroll was so brittle, it had to be cut into strips just to be read, and it has been kept under high security storage ever since. Scholars still argue about its meaning, and no modern excavation has officially recovered any of the treasure it mentions. Whether it's a historical record or a coded warning, the Copper Scroll remains locked, both literally and metaphorically, now to a legendary relic housed under armed guard, yet no one is allowed to prove it exists. The Ark of the Covenant, Ethiopia. According to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, the Ark of the Covenant, the biblical chest said to hold the Ten Commandments, is kept in the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Hexom. Only one monk, the guardian of the Ark, is allowed to see it. No cameras, no researchers, no testing. The Ark's last confirmed location in the Bible was in the First Temple in Jerusalem. After the temple was destroyed, it vanished from history. Ethiopian tradition claims it was brought to Hexom by Menelik I, son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. The church is under constant watch. In 2020, during a regional conflict, locals reportedly died protecting it. Despite global curiosity, the church refuses outside inspection. Whether a symbolic relic or the actual Ark, it remains untouched. This isn't just secrecy, it's a 3,000-year-old silence guarded by faith, firepower, and fear. Now we move to Baghdad, where a clay jar suggests ancient electricity. The Baghdad Battery, Iraq. In the 1930s, a group of archaeologists excavating near Baghdad discovered a clay jar containing a copper cylinder, iron rod, and traces of acidic residue. Dated to around 200 BC, the object, now known as the Baghdad Battery, resembles a primitive galvanic cell. When reconstructed with an acidic solution, it produces a small electric charge. This stunned researchers. Electricity wasn't supposed to exist in ancient times, especially not in Mesopotamia. Some theorized it was used for electroplating metals. Others believe it might have had a religious or symbolic function. Skeptics argue the resemblance to a battery is coincidental, but no consensus has ever been reached. After public fascination grew, the artifact was quietly placed in storage at the National Museum of Iraq. Then in 2003, during the invasion of Baghdad, it vanished. presumed stolen or destroyed. Its current location is unknown. Whether it was ancient science or misunderstood debris, the Baghdad Battery remains one of archaeology's most debated and elusive finds, now to the edge of the world, where a language was carved, then lost forever. The Rangarango Tablets, Easter Island. Carved into thin wooden tablets using obsidian tools, the Rangarango script of Easter Island is one of the few undeciphered writing systems on Earth. Discovered by Europeans in the 19th century, the tablets feature hundreds of glyphs, human figures, birds, fish, and geometric shapes arranged in alternating directions. The locals had no memory of how to read them. Most of the tablets were burned, repurposed, or destroyed by missionaries, fearing their possible link to pagan rituals. Today, only about 24 authentic tablets survive, all locked away in museums in Chile and Europe. Linguists have tried for decades to decode them, but no Rosetta Stone exists. Some believe the writing system was developed independently, an extremely rare occurrence. Others suspect it was inspired by early contact with outsiders. Either way, these tablets remain under tight preservation protocols. The Rangarango script isn't just unread, it's untouchable. A final whisper from a culture erased before it could explain itself. Now to our final artifact, one whose legend became so powerful, museums themselves refuse to display it, the crystal skulls. Made of clear or milky quartz and carved with stunning precision, crystal skulls have been found in private collections and markets across the Americas and Europe. Some claim they're ancient Mesoamerican artifacts with mystical powers, linked to healing, psychic energy, or even apocalyptic prophecies. But scientific testing paints a more complex picture. At least 3 famous skulls, including ones held at the British Museum and the Smithsonian, were proven to have been carved with modern tools. Still, no one knows who made them or why. Their supposed origins, linked to the Aztecs or Maya, have been largely debunked. Yet stories of misfortune, hallucinations, and deaths follow them. Because of their controversial history, museums often keep them locked in archives, rarely placing them on public view. Whether elaborate fakes or misunderstood relics, crystal skulls became too hot to handle, literally and culturally. Their danger may not lie in what they are, but in how much people want to believe in them. History doesn't always bury the past. Sometimes it locks it away, out of reach, out of sight, but never out of mind. And the most dangerous artifacts? They're the ones we're still afraid to explain.